Badgers
Introduce myself.
tanked again.
Yeah. Well, hello. They're playing Nebraska. They're playing our boys' team. We want them to lose.
Nebraska couldn't even beat UCLA.
Oh, you know what? I watched the game. It was all defense. Had nothing to do with offense.
It had,
Wait, like 4, 3. Hi, my name's Dennis Paulson. We're here with our pregame show for Chaffee and Valley. It's our little sports talk. I'm with the legendary coach Ron Smedley. He was a head coach here, D-line coach back in the day. Played for legendary John McKay. Also played at Santa Ana College. All-American, weren't you back then? Back in the day?
Yes.
Yeah. And came out of Arroyo High School in El Monte, California product that was transplanted from Oklahoma, I guess, back in the day. So, Smed, how did John McKay find out about you, back in the day?
No, the thing was that the defensive line coach named Bill Dutton come to me after my second year and said, "Do you want to go to SC?"
Wow.
And I didn't know anything about SC.
So
I had nothing to know about SC. So I go to SC. It's 30 miles from El Monte. My mother lived in El Monte. So I said, this is where I'm going.
All right.
So I kind of liked the homebody. I had some other offers, but that's where I went.
And I didn't know that Dutton was with Homer Beatty at SC. At Santa Ana.
Yeah, he's at Santa Ana. He recruited me out of Arroyo High School in El Monte.
That's legendary. I didn't know that. And then he brings you over there. Homer Beatty ends up going to Cal State LA. Ben's national champs. Coach is another friend of ours, DeWoody, back then. So Smed plays for John McKay. He meets John McKay back then. That's where they had two-way starters, right? You had to play offense and defense, right? Kind of back like that?
You had one starter. You started on defense and offense both.
Oh, so defense and offense.
Yeah,
And
only one substitution a quarter.
One substitution a quarter. That was rough back then, huh?
It was hard on the person keeping books.
I had no idea. So, but you guys ended up going in your senior year. You got a shot. You play for a national championship at the Rose Bowl, and you win it, right? You guys beat Wisconsin, right? Right. You got them pretty handily. Then the game almost gets away. I think you got like 21, 28-point lead. Then something.
Yeah, well, what happened was a guy named Marv Marinovich was he played defensive end, and he got kicked out.
Marinovich is the famous Marinovich quarterback's dad?
Yeah, he got kicked out, and they kept trying to find replacements to contain Vanderkellen, but couldn't find anybody. So that's really why they came back, because we didn't play stellar defense at that time. So
back in the day, but you guys still end up winning the national championship. I've seen lots of your rings. I've been to your house. You were my coach. Another thing I want to ask you is, what about why didn't you go pro? I know you had a couple offers back in the day.
Well, the thing was,
there wasn't no money, right?
Well, the thing was, I had to go the fifth year, and the thing was, I had debated on going a free agent, which didn't pay much money.
Gotcha.
Or go work on a rendering truck and graduate from college.
Wow.
So I worked on the rendering truck because I really want to graduate from college from my mother. So that's one thing I wanted to accomplish in my life was to.
You know what? And that stayed with you a long time, which I'll get into later in the story, and I see why that was so important to you, and you pushed that as a coach here. Another thing was you must have been friends with John McKay, because you go on to coach at Bishop Almont. You coach Pat Hayden. You coach McKay's son. How did you get that job?
Well, what happened was I was a salesman, okay, and a friend of mine named Larry Bryan, he said, "Hey, Ron, why don't you come over and coach after you get off work?" And I was a salesman. I said, okay. So I started doing that. And then when I was working, the company got bought, and the downsizing, last one hired, first one fired. Now I got a job.
Got no job.
So the thing was, I was trying to look for and one of the coaches said, why don't you go down and apply at Nueva Vista Continuation High School in the Bassett School District.
Gotcha.
That's why I can't do that. He said, yeah, go ahead. Okay. So I went down and applied. And I started working on my credential at that time, and I got up at 12 o'clock every day, so I was not very far from Bishop Mount High School. Gotcha.
So you get McKay, you guys end up winning a CIF championship, you're legendary. What brings you to San Bernardino Valley? How did you get here?
Well, a friend of mine named Harold Beach, he played with me at SC, and then he transferred to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo.
Athletic director at Los Osos?
No, that's his son.
Oh, it's his son. Okay, gotcha.
And so they wanted to look for a person that had some defensive background, and they kind of liked the things that I did defensively because of the smaller size people you could use. And the recruiting wasn't very good because it was pretty closed recruiting for him.
It had rules, right?
He said, so I would come over and interviewed, and they gave me a job, and so I worked with Harold Beach as a D. He was the D coordinator, and we worked together on the defense, and
that goes.
That's how I got started.
So that goes with the relationship with Carl Beach, and when you brought Carl in later on in the 90s.
Yeah, I knew Carl when he was growing up. I knew when he played at Cal State Fullerton.
Carl, and so wow, I didn't know they played at Fullerton. Now he's the head coach at Chaffee, and a big reason here. We'll get into that in a second. So you come here, you end up being D-line coach for Beach. Mazzei gets the head.
When we were, yeah, I was D-line coach, but we worked kind of
co-defensive coordinator.
Because this is some of the defense that I knew.
Yeah, because you were a little more knowledgeable in the area. You had better
Well,
coaches probably
the
in
defense that I was running, I had a little bit more knowledge than Harold did.
That's okay. Share responsibility.
He was an excellent coach.
Oh, I knew
very
that.
good, very good.
So head coach at that time, Gene Mazzei?
No, a guy named Tiny Campora.
Tiny Campora, huh? Was the head coach here when that happened?
No, he come in. That's why I came in. When he came in, he was the first coach that they hired that did not teach classes.
Gotcha.
He was brought in just to coach.
Okay.
And he's a real fine man.
So recruitment back then. So how was it to recruit in the Inland Empire? I mean, how was it at Chaffee, between you and Chaffee? There were boundary rules back then, right? I mean, you
couldn't go into their district, not like you can today.
So district was cut off at what, Fontana? Or
at Fontana.
Fontana was the cutoff, right?
Yeah, Fontana.
So it was kind of borderline. Fontana could go Chaffee, Fontana could go to Valley.
No, they could only go to Chaffee.
Wow, so that's why my cousin in '74 played at Chaffee. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand that, and now I know why. So he went there because
it was in their district.
It was in their district, and that was the rules back then. Now, when did that rule change? Not till late, right? Like in the 90s?
No, it didn't change. Well, basically, it didn't change till my last year here.
So basically, 2003. Goes all the way up to 2003 from 60.
Yeah, they started doing where if your boundary touched the other district, that you could recruit those kids. But there's some schools doing that already.
No, help me out with this. Help me out with this, because you know there was some silly stuff going back then. That's why Taft back in the day, in the 70s, they had powerhouses. They had they had rooms that they could stay in. So if the guy moves to that area, they get to...
Well, the thing was that oil backed them.
So they could move there, say they lived there.
They had dorms.
They got dorms in a junior college. I mean, that's recruitment.
Well, you ever been to Taft?
Yeah.
Well, there's not much there.
You got that. You got a couple desert rats, coyotes, and oil. Gotcha. So back in the day. So what if they moved into your district? Then could they go here? Or where you went to high school?
The thing is, they could.
Now, what was the rule? Where you went to high school?
The thing is, they could contact you. When they contacted you, then they come and they had to sign a form.
So that was the.
They had to sign a form saying that they contacted.
Knew there was a loophole. Now we know the loophole.
Yeah.
Because I thought if where you went to high school, you had to play in that. That can't be. That wouldn't be fair. Because how I met you and was from a guy named Reese and Fowler. Edmund Fowler was playing for you. I was going to Santa Ana College. I'm working down in Fontana. He says, I'm home for the summer. He says, why don't you come meet Coach Smedley? I come and meet you. First thing you tell me is you played at Santa Ana College. I'm in Santa Ana College. You said, take a look at me. So I go back. You're in the Hall of Fame. I look up in this board, and just like you said, you were in the Hall of Fame. And I'm like, wow, this guy's a pretty good coach. And that's the reason I actually came here, because they actually had SC coaches. And I like what you had to say. You were honest. You said, I'm not promising you're going to play. Yada, yada, best guy's going to play. We're going to try to get you an education. You're going to get to go on to a 4-year. And that's the one thing I always speak of you and am most proud of. I was looking in the history of the Valley College in Chaffee, and I guess about all the coaches, you're the winningest coach here. But the greatest thing was how many guys went to 4 years that played for you? I mean.
Well, the thing was, I have a philosophy that I went to Santa Ana Junior College. I had academic problems.
Gotcha.
Who could I go to?
Yeah.
I mean, no, I go to. But the second person closest to a kid's family is his coach. So the thing was that I want to help him as much as I can, because this is the second and last opportunity a kid has a chance to go to college and play football. And so my emphasis was to do what I could to help them attain it. And I told the kid, if you come to Valley College, you will graduate.
That's right.
Because I will really do my best to make sure that I can do everything I can to help you.
I can honestly say that's the truth, and that's what you've done for all your players. You made sure we all got that. You really pushed us to get to a 4-year. A lot of guys use guys in junior college, and not saying coaches, but I mean there are coaches out there that they use them up. I like to use RCC sometimes, different schools where the guys that go from our area go play at different areas, and then their 2 years is used up. They don't make it to a 4-year. They don't graduate. are done. I mean, that's kind of a bummer. And you always push that academic thing. You know, you had great teams. So when you take over as head coach, what is it, 85? 85.
86, I think 86.
86. At that time, Fontana's peaking #1 in the state. The Inland Empire, Eisenhower's getting pretty good. Redlands was decent. Riverside Poly. Did you ever get any Riverside Poly guys? Any connections in Riverside? How'd you get those guys? Churchill? Any of those?
No,
dudes?
yeah, I got.
Because the district rules
No,
still.
I got a few kids that come out of North, and they come over. You know.
So I'm here back in the day when I played for you. I was actually a outside linebacker, middle linebacker for Coach Smedley here. Helped me out in so many different ways. He took care of us, made sure we always had a place to live. We always had food. Like you said, he was a father figure. Probably one of the, and then before he has his heart attack, which we'll get into in 2003, brings me over as D-line coach. Got a lot of guys you bring in. But you brought Carl Beechin, the head coach over there. You owned Chaffee for a long time. A lot of your assistants left Valley and went to Chaffee. I mean, look how many guys were there. Frank Sullivan, Ports, Mike Williams, guys you've coached. All of them either coaches here. Carl Beach, O'Farrell, Willie, he worked there. But all them guys were assistants for you back in the day. And now, I mean, to see how many guys left and still.
I was a lucky guy, wasn't I?
Well, I don't know. They obviously, you know what.
No, that's one thing I was really happy with the quality of coaches that wanted to come here to Valley College and work for $2,000 a season.
Wow.
That was amazing.
Right.
The talented guys that came over, and I was blessed.
Yeah, what was good about that, what I think is there must have been some type of love you showed them all because they stayed in the junior college. And Hadaway was one of the youngest guys. I mean, look, he was defense coordinator taught there for 20 years. But when I came on my freshman year, he was like 2 years older than me, and he was like assistant DB coach. How'd that come about?
He was a DB coach, and he's probably one of the finest fundamentalists as a DB coach that I've ever been around.
Without a doubt.
I mean,
I've
he's
learned
very
from him
thorough,
as well.
Committed guy, and if a guy plays for him, he's going to have the fundamentals to go on.
I'd have to agree with you on that. There's one thing, and I sat in with him in a couple clinics one time where I saw him in a clinic, and we were talking about a DB coach at UCLA, and he told me, that guy's not very good. And he says, I run this 23, he called it, which used to be, I use it as a combo, but he used a combination of cover 2, cover 3, and when I sit and listen to his philosophy behind it, it made sense. And he says there's guys in D1, don't have a clue. And we got guys that came from Iowa State, Washington, other schools in the offseason, and they would go train with him. And he helped your guys out too. Even if there were kids of yours, they needed some footwork deal. I thought you guys had that relationship that they could take a class with him if you needed to call him, and him not truly try to recruit him. You know what I'm saying, right? I mean, if they went to Chaffee.
No, he's a friend. Both Carl and Hadaway are good friends.
So what brought Beach over here with you back then?
Well, he walked in.
Just showed up one day.
He just showed up, and he said he wanted to come work at a community college, and he done quite well at Bloomington, and he come in, and I said, well, we'll put you on defense.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not real strong in that area. I said, well, yeah, I think you'll like it. That's why I needed him.